Okay, about to work on the canoe. Just want to show it to you before I destroy it. So anyway, flip it around. So about 16 foot, but apparently there's, on the old Coleman canoes, I don't know if you can see under here, there's seats. And back up a little bit, somewhere in there. I can't see nothing. Let me get down here and lay down. Okay, where are these seats? Mount to the side of the canoe. Apparently right down the, right there, and there, there, and there. Apparently it's really common to get little stress fractures in the plastic. So, what we're gonna do, pardon me, sorry. Now, you can see, there's like a 4-inch crack right there, plus it goes down in between behind this rail. So I'm gonna have to take this rail off to get the proper repair all the way down through it. Something else I noticed up here towards the front, I'm gonna have to deal with this too. This is new, but as you can see on the front end of the canoe, there's this one metal bar right here, and apparently that corner should have been trimmed down a little bit because it was right into that plastic, which came through on this side. So I'll fix that too. But ugliest thing I seen, and this looks new as well, well, maybe not real new, but there's a crack on the bow. Not a big deal because we got this cast aluminum thing holding everything together, but I may try to do something with that. I don't know yet. And then there's just a couple of gouges in it, but that's normal use, normal wear and tear. So I got this just the other day. Basically it's a soldering iron, but it's made for plastic welding. So they give you some screens, actually a bunch of screen, not a lot, but stainless steel screen, various types of plastics, different colors. The color of the green that they had in here, not a good match by any means, and it's a different type of plastic. So I ended up ordering the right plastic, and coincidentally very good color match. So that's a major win today. Actually, that just got delivered by Amazon today. So you don't have to go that route, because if you look at a whole bunch of different types of plastic, look on the underside. Of course it would be upside down. Look at the underside for the recycled triangle, and the plastic on this canoe is high density polyethylene, which is HDPE, high density polyethylene. So you could take stuff like that, cut it into strips, or whatever type of jugs you got lying around the house. HDPE. Sugar containers, HDPE. 2-stroke oil container. This was almost, I was gonna go with this because the color is just so close. So what you'd have to do in that, take the label off and chop the top off, stuff like that, and You know, looking at it, the color's not totally right, but it would be okay for repair. Who cares? And I think, I'm not sure, but I think zip ties are also HDPE type of plastic, which would make for very good welding rods. Also got another item where you can get a source of plastic, but I already wheeled it out front. To the curb, so it's actually our trash bin, and I'll show you that in a second. So here's our trash bins for the city of East Point. But anyway, this is also HDPE type of plastic. So I called up the city to ask them if they happen to have any of these busted up that they're going to throw away. So I contacted the city to see if they had any of those things busted up that they're not going to use. They haven't got back with me yet. So, but that's all right, because like I said, I ended up getting these from Amazon today. So, new project. Let's get this thing fixed. Oh, another thing, I'm not sure, but maybe, just maybe, that might be HDPE. I'm not sure. It's not labeled. But the color isn't too bad. But you'd have to get quite a few of these to make some plastic welding stuff with it. So, but anyway, what we gotta do is, first things first, make sure everything's all nice and clean. But anyway, at the crack, towards the end of the crack, you just want to drill a small hole to keep the crack from continuing on. So let me put the phone down and start getting a little bit of prep going here. Oh yeah, another item you can get for your plastic supply are the ever trusty 5-gallon buckets. Standard 5-gallon pails. You probably pick them up from, in this case, fast food restaurants. Yeah, Burger King right there. So basically, same situation. Look on the bottom for the recycling triangle, HDPE. So that you can cut up into strips and make your plastic welding rods as well. I think what's going to happen, I'm going to make one more attempt, but these did not want to come off. And it's just a flathead screw on the other side, so I don't know if I'm going to take this stuff off yet or not. We'll see. Okay, I was able to get those screws out relatively easy, and well, nuts on this side and screws on the other, but this is kind of a drag. This is actually like a channel, and the plastic sits down inside this channel in a tight groove, so I don't think I'm going to be taking this thing off. I did take off the back seat. Gonna have to do a little bit more pressure washing, but usually on these canoes, at the very back and up at the bow, you can't really see it, but there'll be some foam in there for positive buoyancy. Flotation, that's all it is. So I've got some plans to supplement that, but that'll be a little bit later. So I'm gonna try to get this, wherever it went, that crack. So you got different screens that you cut out, and what I did was around all the edges, especially the ones that I cut, I just put it on the bench vise so it like works like an anvil, and then hammered the edge down just so you don't get any pokies and make bad things happen. So essentially, lost my spot. Where am I at here? Right there. Okay, so the screen is going to go directly over the crack. So I'm just going to have to trim off like that 1 square inch at the bottom. But as the procedure goes, essentially what we're going to do is kind of use the soldering tool to heat the screen up and actually melt it right into the plastic, and then we'll just lay more plastic on top of it and melt it in, smooth it out the best we can. But I'm not going to be overly picky about this job just because it's mine. Alright, here's the deal. I kind of did one weld. First one's always the worst one. So I'll flip you around and look at it. Yeah, where's that? There it is. So, screen, and then a bunch of plastic melted on top of it. I can't see, I'm right into the sun. Go to the other side. Anyway, oh, I need a light here. There we go. Anyway, this has got a little bit of plastic added to it, but for the most part it just sort of melted everything together all the way up. There's going to be a bracket that goes right here anyway, covering it. So then I got around to the right side of the canoe. Okay, now here you can still see the screen. I put a little bit of plastic in this top area, and I'm not the same with that one. But for the most part, and it's really hard to see, I mean, you can see a few spots that are still stainless steel, which is okay. This one I added some plastic to and melted it. That other side, it was hard to see in the sunlight, but there was a lot of plastic that ended up getting cooked. Got, you know, burnt basically. But anyway, this screen, put the screen on the crack and then just went around with this guy right here, and it's on, so it's hot. But anyway, I just kept going around the screen and pushing it in, and that's hard to do this with holding the camera. But anyway, these edges right here, you'll start to see the stainless steel getting wet. When that happens, the plastic is starting to come through the screen. So you basically go around and hit different spots on it just to help hold the screen in place, and then just wet the whole thing out, and then go back and add plastic later. I'm gonna have to sand it down a little bit, because this is just really rough all the way through there. But it's good enough for government work. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. This ain't fun. Anyway, really caked it on heavy with the plastic. I just can't get a good angle on it. There we go. And part of that got cooked. So anyway, it's cooled down. I sanded it down a little bit by hand. Takes an awful lot of time to do this. And then on the other side, this is mostly just the screen pushed in to the plastic. I'm almost tempted just to leave it like that. Get some of that what is it, flex tape or something, paint it green, and slap a piece over each one, both sides. But I don't want to take all my summer making this thing pretty. I want to get out and use it. Alright, I did this the quick way. Here's that piece up by the bow. So I could heat it up a little bit more, but I ended up taking this bar off here and then cutting a little bit more of the corner off so it's not into the hull. But I filled in, put some plastic in this divot, and a little bit of work on the outside. Nothing to worry about though. The other repairs, I'm gonna leave them just like that. Like I said, you know, a little bit of waterproof tape, a little bit of green paint, good to go, good to get in the water. And I put the seat back up in there. Basically, these things are cracking in these certain areas just simply by the way the seat frames are designed. Some of them are actually twisted into, you know, the hull. Other ones maybe just fine. Like that one's fine. That one had a crack. That one had a crack. That one had a crack. All the ones up front are good. So, all right. So what do we got going on? Still got to make a front forward rack for. This is Penny. Big girl. Yeah, moose. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. I'm brain farting. Oh, I gotta make a forward roof support thing on the pickup truck. I got 2 on the cap. I just need something on the roof of the pickup truck without drilling into the pickup truck. So something temporary, like a soft luggage rack somehow. But anyway, I ordered a couple of parts for the outboard, so those will be here in a few days. Hopefully I can start working on that soon. Can't wait to get this thing in the water. So, okie doke. I guess I'll talk to you in a little bit. Okay, well, I cheated. I ended up taking that flex tape. Flex tape, scuffed it up with some sandpaper. Good enough. That's the front. Now, after doing that, I'm half tempted to throw a coat of paint over the whole thing, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. What I got is this 1-inch thick polyurethane closed cell foam, and what I'm going to do with that is completely line the inside of the canoe on the floor and then up the walls. So that's the next project. Get on it. Okay, I got the canoe all padded in and foamed, so take a look. So 1-inch thick. I mean, I could have taken the whole thing completely apart and just laid as minimal sheets in there as possible, but man, that'd be a lot of work taking all this frame off the hull. So this thing is ready to splash in the water right now, but when it was upside down on the sawhorses, well, I still gotta take those 2 decals off yet. So in the state of Michigan, apparently, if it's a personally owned vessel under 16 foot and human powered, you don't have to get it registered. So I'm putting a motor on it, so I'm gonna have to register it. So, but anyway, when it was upside down, I was seriously considering just throwing a coat of paint over the whole thing. And so I ran up to Myers because I had to get some of that spray adhesive anyway, and I got some more paint. This is what I initially used, hunter green, and I forgot what it was called by the time I got back in there. So I picked up 3 cans of meadow green. Not quite. So come over here, we take a look. Yeah, that looks too light. Yep, other stuff was better because it looked like that right there, and this is a little bit lighter That looks lighter, but it's really not. It's almost same color, but darker and glossier. So, but anyway, if you look, I didn't go all the way up to the top edge, just because if I'm gonna mount some fishing rod holders or something like that, or who knows what, diving board. So I just left that space above it. I could always add to it later, but what was I about to say? Oh, that foam, aside from the obvious, adding more buoyancy, but it's not going to work for buoyancy unless it is underwater. So that shouldn't happen. But since I'm going to put a motor on the back, a 7 horsepower motor, all this foam that I put in there will help quiet the hull down when it's going across the waves under power. And if you wanted to walk barefoot in it, it'll be more comfortable. So I also designed, well, I didn't design it, but see how the back end has that vertical cover right there with the data plate on it? There's supposed to be one up in the front, but that one was missing. So I just shoved a piece of another foam up in there, so to hide the ugly foam that's behind it. So basically, this thing's ready for water. Oh, I still got to get life jackets yet. Never mind. So since I am an expert in not knowing what I'm doing, that should be just fine. The plastic welds, there are plenty of videos out there on YouTube of guys that really know what they're doing, and theirs turned out really good. So that was my first attempt. I wasn't overly enthused about it, but it worked. So it's nice and solid. Might as well go take a look at the other side. It's got a couple pieces of tape on it, and that's that oh, what do you call it, flex tape, but it's real shiny stuff. Whoops. Real shiny stuff. So what you got to do is take a little piece of sandpaper and scuff it to get all the glossiness off the tape. That way the paint will stick to the tape. So, but anyway, I think this thing's going to work out just fine. If it sinks, we all can laugh together. So, in the meantime, catch you on the next video.